Tippie and the Van Vuren group continues after this. The dust and heat of the Northwest Province was getting in just about everywhere as the yellow Atlas Copco of Gary Bertolt and Henry Costain swept to the front and stayed there in the special vehicle class. This is one big engine and it always wants a bit more punishment. TTR Racing's Mossa G and Barhanya was second and were about 6 minutes in arrears. And the National Mobile duo of Mike Whitehouse and Graham Thornton were in third place, but more than 15 minutes back. With Mike Kennelly and Colin Haywell who were fourth and giving a good account of themselves. Ruacon's White brothers were enjoying their outing together as David had been racing a single-seater. For him, it was good to have company. Stompie Mayart was holding on for dear life in the Saratoga game capture Landy as his driver Hendrik van der Linde gave it stick. They were leading in Class D. Let's go in car now with the Zermattens, and the rough and tough nature of this route is well demonstrated here, but there certainly weren't too many overtaking opportunities. That's the Screamer working overtime. And that the rain certainly took its toll on the cars.
George, problems earlier?
Hey, yeah. It seems like we've got a bent prop shaft, we've got a fuel leak, had a puncture. Seems like these regional races are not for sissies, eh? But we're going to try again, keep on going.
And George, we presume that everything else on the car is 100%, hey? At least his better half Sharon was still smiling. CH Holdings Toyota swept by with Class E leaders Henk Bester and Ernie Chrysler keeping up the speed. Malcolm Koch and Wayne Brink were up into the top three in class and going along smoothly. With Ramon Besaidnout and Keith van Tonde from Nigel in fourth in their Toyota. Dust combined with the heat was starting to grind bearings down and wear down CV joints, but no one told Henny Strumpfer and his co-pilot Bill Becker this. They just kept trucking in Class E where they were second. The competition was tough and uncompromising throughout. No quarter asked or given, regional or not. Lemmer and Kutsia were third in Class E and holding their own very nicely. And it was ditto in Class S for Kevin and Leon Barker, who were in the lead by a whopping 24-minute margin. Supreme Auto's Tippie and Theo Janse van Rensburg chasing their dust in Class B. Labuschagne and Erasmus were still firmly ensconced in fifth place in Class D in their Toyota. While the Henko's Dewald Hunting and Duke de Pree still dominated Group F by more than an hour. One of the spectators' favourites was Mick Oosthuizen and Keith Solomon in their Beetle, who were second in Class S. With Johan Boxhoorn in a single-seater showing up the rest of the crews in Class B. He was third in this category with a great drive. Vernon Fenter and Albert Pretorius from Lichtenburg were clearly having fun as they were at the head of affairs in Class C. In Class E, it was Philip Smith and Kobus Bomo who slotted into 5th in their Mahindra. Airtech's Arends Hunting was having a storming drive in Class B and was up into the 5th place. While the Andre Brits-Gerrit Rousseau combination had sneaked into 8th place in Class A and stayed there in the second half of the race. Some of the faster specials streaked past some of the production cars on the straights. This time it was Wynand van der Linde who had to let the faster traffic just go by. Onto 2 wheels, and in the open category Eugene Coetzee got his nose in front and kept it there. With Dennis Williams about 90 seconds behind, but not able to pick it up any harder than he was going. And the man in 3rd, Owen Warren, was right on his exhaust pipe. In the 125 category, Linux Yamaha's Jurgens Potgieter was ahead by 80-odd seconds. With the 2nd placer in the senior race, Tyrone Morris, keeping him right on his toes. Dylan Engs had slotted into 3rd in the 125s. While Stephen Williams was getting everything out of his 2-wheeler, and then a bit more. Ruan Roberts, another from the Arrow Racing squad, was 2nd in the 125 class, with Michael de Beer in 4th. Wild was doing his surname proud in 3rd in the 200cc's, with Kay Jellyman from the Roost in 7th in the open class next. Chris Gomes was 6th in the 125s and wearing the right number. Gert van der Berg was in 2nd in the 250s, about 7 minutes behind. With Bradley Engelbrecht leading the way in the 200cc's right on his tail. Craig McLary was 5th in the senior class, again in the colours of the Roost, but a long way back. And Reinders Basson was in 5th in the open class. In the 200s, Lawrence Erasmus was just 25 seconds behind Engelbrecht. It was a dice to the bitter end. In the quads, it was much of the same, but by now it was tough to tell who is who in the zoo. What we could tell was Willy van der Merwe was leading the open section by 6 minutes exactly. Swat was 2nd in the Pro 450 section, also 6 minutes back. But there weren't a lot of large gaps in the field. One wrong slot or gear kissed and missed, and the man behind would be right past you. And even the quad racers were battling with the dust and the oppressive heat. You'd have to be truly extraordinary, talking extraordinary. Berthold and Costain were exactly that, as they charged to a 7.5-minute victory margin in Class A.
Yeah, pretty smooth drive, a rather fast track. We passed the motor right back as it pulled over with a slight problem. We seemed to catch him and pass him after he pulled over, and we had a smooth run for the rest of the afternoon.
Except maybe for a farmer that would be missing a considerable length of fence. It was smooth. Despite some stalled traffic, the National Mobile duo of Whitehouse and Thornton came screaming by to take 3rd. With Kennelly and Howell right behind them in 4th. Van der Linde and his co-driver Maynard clinched the Class D title with 4.5 minutes to spare, with Musa G in 2nd in Class A.
No problem. After we just changed the rim and it shaved a bit of the caliper away, so brakes were a little bit low, but other than that, no problem. Just a nice open section, yeah.
Okay.
It's a good run.
Did the dehydration get to you today at all?
It was a bit hot. The car ran very hot, so that is another worry, to keep on looking at the engine temps and water temps to keep it, under control. But it was a hot day today. So we are a bit tired. Can get back home today.
You just got a second place right on the line here.
Yeah, no, not too bad, Not too bad.
Ryobi's Henry and Maurice Matten took the runners-up spot in Class D and improved their diet.
I must have eaten more dust today than I did in a year of nationals. It was such a joke this morning. They said to us we're pulling off sort of like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're sitting there in shorts and a t-shirt, having some water, thinking this is going to be boring. And the next thing, the car starts pulling off. I think, hey, Nev, listen, what's happening here? Oh, I don't know. So let's amble over to the start. We're supposed to have started 7th. I think we started 20-something. So I said to him, but this is not cool. He says, yeah, but this was not in the regs, just drive. So now we ate dust like no business. It was... But man, what a toy, eh? This Nissan is beautiful. Compared to that Pajero we were running, this is the machine.
But the winning machine overall was the Atlas Copco Porter of Bertolt and Costain in 2 hours and 22 minutes. Nel and Lobeschachny had almost 8 minutes to spare over the Van Rensburgs in Class B. While the Barkers, Kevin and Leon had almost a half an hour's time to enjoy a cold beer to wash away all the dust before Venter and Pretorius made their appearance in second. And in Class D, Hendrik van der Linde and his nav Andries Maynard tasted victory with a lot of time to spare.
Ja, dat was baie lekker. Vir 'n slag kon ek ry sonder om moeilikheid te gehad het. Vandag was my beurt. Dit was lekker geweest.
Bietjie dors nog.
Ja, bietjie dors.
Other class wins went to Bester and Christel in Class E by almost 10 minutes, while Dewald Hutting and Duke de Pree took the win in Class F, where only 2 finishers made it to the line. To the men with the big right hands and the 2-wheelers, the open category, Eugene Coetzee had only 1 minute and 35 seconds to celebrate his win in class, but it was enough to make it a really nice day out there.
It was a nice day, a bit dusty in the beginning. I think the second lap when we went out, especially with the cars in front, quite dusty, but I enjoyed it. Very nice.
Okay, was dehydration a bit of a factor out there for you today?
I think it was a bit hot today, enough fluids, so yeah, no, it was fine for me.
It was also fine for all the other motorbike category winners, with the 250cc winner Mark Garland clocking the fastest time. An exhausted Eugene Coetzee won the Quads Pro 450 title.
Dit was baie vanaand en ook die bietjie begin reën. Hier kom dit nou. So die stof het dalk bietjie sak, maar voor die reën was stof was ongelooflik baie.
Ek sien jou gesig lyk.
Nee, ek het.
And it had obviously got to him and the hat stand behind him. Still a fine win by Brett, and he also clocked the quickest overall time for the 4-wheelers. The Rustenburg 200 was proudly brought to you by Lichtenburg and Rustenburg.